The idea of being earth literate is the idea that you recognize that earth is the ultimate teacher, and that by paying attention to earth, the rest of earth, that we learn how to live sustainably. Narrow Ridge protects about 500 acres of rural Appalachian countryside. We have 3 community land trusts with about 35 home sites on those 3 land trusts. Those are places where people lease the land and agree to abide by some simple and sensible conservation restrictions, such as no clear cutting of trees, not to use chemicals on the ground. And these leases can be left to an heir, provided that the heir agrees to live by those same restrictions. So that's one way that we use the land, is to build community that is sustainable and that preserves the countryside that we're so fortunate to be surrounded by. It's a place with a low population where you still see starlight at night. It's a place without a lot of traffic and hustle and bustle. So it's a place where people can come and really get away from some of the pressures of modern life and work, and enjoy a slowing down and an immersion in nature.
It's necessary for people to have this kind of experience because there's so much chatter today with all the gizmos that we have to work with. The chatter is just incessant in our minds, and we can't get away from that. And it's only when we put people in a place where we say, for this week, even though we use technology here in a lot of different ways, but for this week we want to try to avoid that as much as possible and come back to where people have been living for thousands of years. It's only been in the industrial age that people have gotten caught up in all of this stuff. And so silence is important, what we do, and real true communication, a heart-to-heart communication with each other and with the natural world. Even if it's just a turtle or the redbirds that sings, or even a blade of grass or the tree. We want people to be immersed in the natural world.
We have some of our common land where we garden. Students are given the opportunity to experience organic gardening. And that can be some of our more regional schools, such as UT and Carson-Newman, as well as some more distant schools, such as Miami-Dade College.
We've had students from as far north as New York, and west as Kansas and California, and south to Miami, and everywhere in between.
But when a group comes here, we have some just immersion experiences where they get to experience themselves in the natural world, which we find to be rich. But we also talk about issues of water conservation, about mountaintop removal. I think one of the biggest things that we try to emphasize is that consumption is the problem of the day, whether it's energy consumption or consumption of goods, and that alternative technology is a necessary ingredient to where we want to go, but it's not sufficient. That lifestyle change and a lower consumption for our society is essential.
What we hear from students that come is that it's a life-changing event. It doesn't matter whether they're 18 or they're 80. They want to come back, and they want to take this kind of a lifestyle with them. Maybe they're going back into the hectic rat race of a big city like Miami, but they do want to incorporate some of what they learned here in that experience. Narrow Ridge Earth Literacy Center is to study, teach, and demonstrate a sustainable way of living. And when we say study it, everybody can study it, and all of us are teachers and all of us are learners, but the trick is to really live it, to demonstrate it. All of our buildings are off the grid. We produce our own electricity. We try to lower our carbon imprint by energy efficient buildings, straw bale construction, and so forth, so that we are really efficient in the way we live our lives in the homes that we build. This is what we call the truth window. We have a truth window in all of these straw bale structures, so people can really see that it's straw and made out of bales of straw, which gives us that really good insulation so that the house is warm in the wintertime and cool in the summer. And the straw is something that's sustainable. It just came from 6 miles down the road, a local farmer. These are bales of straw that are stacked up, and in our lodge here, this is a post and beam structure, and the walls are put in after the roof goes up, and then we just spray gunite inside and outside, on those bales of straw. Straw will keep for 100 years if you can keep it dry. We also have straw bale construction where it's load bearing. The bales are actually, the roof is resting on top of the bales. So that's a unique way of building. And then in my home, it's kind of a modified post and beam. And anybody can come and rent one of these facilities. Families can rent for a weekend, or church groups or school groups, or just simply individuals who want to come for a personal, private retreat, a time to get away.
The Narrow Ridge has a mission of offering experiential learning in earth literacy based on the cornerstones of community, sustainability, and spirituality. We learn how to live in a way that leaves something healthy and nourishing for those who come after us. It's the idea that humans don't have the ultimate wisdom, that with the rest of the community of Earth, we are able to learn what we need to learn to live a healthy and harmonious existence. These are, really precious places that we all need to nourish our souls and our spirit. And while not everyone can or even desires to live in such a place, it's important that we have these places to return to.
We get the name Narrow Ridge from a Jewish theologian, actually, Martin Buber, who said that we have to walk the narrow ridge of life, which is a sense of being in balance with one another and with the creation around us. It's a beautiful example. There's not a place called Narrow Ridge as far as Clinch Mountain and Hines Ridge. We say that Narrow Ridge is a place in the heart, and we're all striving to walk that narrow ridge in our relationships with one another, in our relationships with the rest of the planet.